Welcome to the Richmond Film Network Podcast, your all-access pass to the world of independent cinema. Each week, we go beyond the credits and sit down with the creatives who turn vision into reality. Tune in weekly to find out who's on the RFN Pod.
Welcome to the Richmond Film Network Podcast. I'm Lisa Giles, your host, and I'm here today with Julian Banks to talk about his film, The Scene. Julian is back. We just saw him at RFN Indie Fest in August, and he's already returning to the November 15th lineup with a new short film, The Scene. It's a movie inside of a movie, a sharp meta look at what really goes on behind the camera. The Scene follows a student filmmaker trying to complete a single scene with an inexperienced crew, capturing all the tension, ego, and chaos that comes with making art. The film's clever use of color and black and white, combined with a killer soundtrack, shows us a filmmaker really coming into his own, and we're so glad to have him back so soon. Welcome back, Julian.
Thank you.
So Julian, what made you decide to submit a second film so soon? The Scene, which I believe is actually an earlier product than The Kennel that we just saw in August. What made you submit so soon, and what went into your choices of what to submit when?
Well, I realized that eligibility for Film Fest, we're starting to end for that film because that one was completed in 2024. I think around the summer, I believe. And it was only in a few fests, and I wanted to give it another viewing opportunity, especially because I wanted to invite the cast. The cast were never able to watch it because all the festivals that it was in were away. Like it was in one in Charlottesville, and then there was in one in Fredericksburg, so it was kind of inaccessible for some people.
Well, I'm so glad you decided to submit, and that cast and crew members will be able to attend here in Richmond. That'll be really fun. This felt to me, this felt to me a little bit like an inside joke created for filmmakers. So like if you do film, then you kind of understand this is going to be really fun for you and really hilarious for you. So is that what you intended to do, to kind of create this special little treat for people in film to understand and vibe and connect with together?
Yeah, the idea was made after we had a very stressful shoot that previous summer, and I was basing it off my experiences there. So like everyone that was on that set kind of saw it and how it connected to real life.
Some people or some roles are not portrayed in the best light, let's say. Did anyone recognize themselves? Anyone, or will they recognize themselves if they haven't seen it?
Well, it was a very exaggerated kind of thing. Like it wasn't really based on anyone specific, but it was kind of based on like certain things that'll happen that like are typically smaller, but like when you're really thinking about it, it kind of builds up to a point. But like no one was really targeted though.
Yeah, so you have you want to talk about the different kind of archetypes that you did explore. Certainly there's the directors, there's the actors, there's I think the grips that you had in there. There's several different people on set and what their personalities might be like on a set. You want to talk a little bit about those specific choices?
Well, I know for the director, I've never acted like that, but like there's like it came from a place where like I'll be frustrated and I'll be thinking about something, but obviously I can't really just say it. So a lot of it came from my internal ideas of when I'm on set and I'm stressed out. But then everybody else, it was kind of just like, if something can go wrong, it's gonna go wrong.
Okay.
But I mean, like when certain things like that happen on set, it's usually not to that degree. But I exaggerate a little bit, like what if it was? So like I took like small things from my experiences and I amplified it.
So what about the actors? You have a situation where you have one actor that's hitting her lines, as she should, and then another actor who's having a little bit more of a difficult time, or at least in the director's eyes, he's having a difficult time hitting those lines. So have you had that experience with actors where you are not communicating with each other very well to try to get the emotion that you're trying to convey?
A little bit, but like not to the extent where like it goes off the rails like that. But typically, like how he was saying, what if I say it like this? And she's like, so I wrote the script for nothing. Like that's never happened. But I've had actors say, what if I said it like this? And the idea is like, well, what if I was very against that, or the director was very against that? Like usually I'm not, because typically, like obviously the actor knows what feels natural to the character, which I might not have realized as writing it. So it's natural for them. But some people can be really stuck in their ways, and like that's where that came from.
From the very opening shot, I loved it from the first element that is conveyed, and you it's over black, and you hear the actress saying, "This is why I think we should break up," and just from that moment on, it's like you're in it so quickly. So even just a second into the film, it grabs you instantly, and you're taken on this little ride with what the film is all about, and setting the tone. How do you do that? Because that's not easy to do. You've got the story, you've got it written out, your actors are there, this is what you're trying to do, and then you got everything shot. So it's one thing to write the story and to have it played out on screen, but then there's the editing that goes into it, there's the choice to have the black, with just the voice, and then you're incorporating the different color choices. You have the black and white, which is the film inside the film, and then you have the color, which is the reality happening. So I think you're so smart with those choices that you make, and in how you get a viewer instantly tied in and committed to this story that you're telling. So give me some insight into those choices that you make and how that process comes about for you.
So I knew from the beginning I wanted it to be a misdirect. So like it's really dramatic, the real dramatic lighting, and then you have this really dramatic line, I think we should break up, like I don't love you anymore. And then boom, he laughs, and it's like I wanted the audience to be like, wait, what? Like it's gonna be kind of funny. And then the camera just jars back and it moves back. So I really wanted it to be like dramatic, because like obviously like the director is one of those like that really like hardcore artists, or like tortured artists, are like they're really one of those like dictators on set. So I was supposed to be like overly dramatic. The lines were supposed to come off a little bit corny. I don't know if they did, but that was like the idea. And then you have the color, which is like that orange, right? It's supposed to feel kind of hot and like cramped and like just very like stressful. That's why like it's so like orange and stuff. So that was the thought behind that.
So we're watching this process from multiple perspectives, from different crew roles on the set, and all that's happening, all this chaos and the egos and the different dynamics. And then of course you have the main scene, and then you have kind of what's happening off camera, so to speak, and what's happening back there. What is it? The one person who comes into the scene with the picture. Where does this go? It's like, why would you even ask that at this time? Right at this time. It's so
Yeah.
funny, and I literally laughed out loud. Is everybody who was on screen, were they all actors,
So
or
no,
were some of them crew?
yeah. So that's one of the most interesting parts. So when we were doing this originally, I had most of the people were going to be actors. So one of the plans we had was to cut down, because there's so many characters, and we had somewhat of a big crew. We were like, we should have some of the crew members play cast, which we did have planned, but eventually we had more actors than crew. But a lot of the actors dropped out like the night before. So me and the first AD were making a schedule in the cinema building, because we were still in school at the time. And we we found out half the crew dropped out. We were like, okay, let's ask our friends that are still here to be in the movie. And they were like, yeah. So everyone except the director and the actor those are the only actors. Everybody else is a cinema student.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, and Jai, he played in it. He was an actor too, but everybody else was a cinema student. And then two of the crew, our producer was in it, and then the first AD was in it.
So their portrayals on screen were probably partly instinctive, what they
Yeah.
would do. Yeah. It really is laugh out loud funny.
Thank you.
I love what you've done. And of course, as independent student film, low budget, so you were able to do a lot with very little. I think on your profile you said that you made it for $120. So
Yeah.
that's crazy. And as beautiful as it looks, on screen, and it's as crisp as it sounds, and as a whole product, to say, this was made for $120. My goodness. So talk about that, about uh, how you're able to achieve such a quality product with so little.
So it was a 2-day shoot. I always try to keep my shoots from 1 to 2 days, but I would pay for food, and then everything else was mainly favor. So the sound person was Seb Duwal, and he has his own equipment. So he helped us out with that. He was very good with that. I did additional ADR after the fact in that summer. So some of the lines are ADR, and then with how it looks. So I have my own camera. That was my camera, and then the lights, those were all favors from the cinema department. And it just all I was really proud of how it came out, like, and how we pulled it together, because a lot of this stuff was very last minute. Like the shot list wasn't done until the day before, so we were kind of scrambling to do that. And it was just really fun and crazy, to be honest. Like, as crazy as the movie is, like, the production was just as crazy.
Well, do you think that lent to some of the energy that we see on screen? If it
Yeah,
was, if
definitely.
that was what was, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is even more impressive, because you have this happening in real life that you have to control in order to get the product that you want to get captured on screen. So it really is a movie within a movie, but real life within the movie as well.
Yeah.
So how do you get that under control then, Julian? When you have your shot list isn't done, people are dropping out the day before, it's stressful, and then you got a stressful script happening, and crew standing in as actors, playing crew. It almost seems like a perfect storm of problems to have with this story that you're telling.
Well,
If anything could go wrong, then those are the things you want to go wrong, because that's what you're capturing.
yeah. Well, I think, like, it's just the people I had on the team. Like, Maya Rios was the DP, Jess Hayes was the AD, and then my producer Asher Green. Like, they were all very committed. Like, Asher, like, when every time we had a question, it was like he had it covered. Like, we needed an extra SD card, he found one. We needed someone to fill in. So the person I was originally playing, the actress in it, she dropped out the morning of, and I was at Panera eating breakfast, and I was like, wow, it might be over, but they figured it out for me. Me and Maya worked together to, like, build the shots during the day. See, and also what was very hard about it was that a movie like that, where people are constantly talking over each other, was pretty challenging to shoot, because we were pretty inexperienced in terms of the time we shot it. So shooting something like that is a pretty advanced thing to do. But that's, like, that added on to the chaos. But we figured it out, and, like, it just, everybody was just on their A game. Like, it wouldn't have worked if I didn't have people that were committed just as much as I was.
That's really remarkable. I think that says a lot about, well, about you as the director of the project, but about the team as well. Like you said, that everybody was on their A game to be able to make it happen, and to make it happen so well, despite all of the challenges that you have. So you mentioned the location. Was that at the depot at VCU, you said?
On the
Okay.
soundstage.
Okay. Was that built for this film, or was that something that was already built?
It was already built, and we were allowed to check it out to use it. And
Okay.
I had the idea that because you're supposed to use it as like an actual like restaurant set.
Hmm.
So, but I thought it'd be really funny if like we exit it and you see, oh, it's just a set, and I thought that'd be funny.
Yeah. So it's 8.5 minutes, and you said it was 2 days. How
Mm.
long did it stay in post?
Post. So we shot it. I'm trying to think. I don't remember the exact date we shot it, but it did take a little bit to edit just because of like I said, people were talking over each other and it was multiple shots. So I had to like that was probably one of the most challenging things I've had to edit because when you first edit, you're like, wow, I messed up a lot, didn't I? But then when you start to get the hang of it over like the course of a few days, you're like, okay, I can fix this, I can fix that. Like it's not that bad. It's just it took more I had to really edit the sound a lot more than I usually do. And once it was starting to come together, I was like, wait, like this is I actually really like this. Like because whenever I start the first edit, I'm always like, dang, I feel like this isn't good. But once I was like, oh, I can just do a fade in here, fade out here, ADR this is like this is gonna be pretty good.
I love that. Okay. So when you say it's not going to be good, this is when you have all the shots. The shots are done and you're just putting it all together. So you've got a bunch of pieces that you're trying to put a puzzle together with, and the pieces don't look like much. Is that kind of what you're saying, until you creatively figure out how they fit together and what you can do uh, through technology and so forth to make it into something that's not a mess.
Yeah, it was like I don't know, when we were shooting it, we knew it looked really good, but it was
Okay.
just but once we got to like the parts where people are talking over each other, and plus like it's a very frantic movie. And like I
Hmm.
had to cut together so many different parts, like going back and looking at the script to make sure this is in order, this is coming together. It was probably one of the most challenging things I've had to edit, just because of how many moving pieces there are. But like so like when you're first watching it, because especially when you don't have the music in it, right? So like I'm just watching these things happen and it feels kind of disjointed. And
Mm.
then but you give it a day, you come back, you're like, okay, I can do this, this, and this. It was building it piece by piece. Yeah, so it was like this was probably the one where like I definitely had the vision for it, but it has so many pieces to make it complete that like if one wasn't there to me, it was just like this is not good right now.
In independent film, the director is often the editor, but not always. And of course, in studio film, almost never.
Mhm.
But would this have been something that you would have ever trusted someone else to edit together? Knowing what your vision was, knowing what you had after it was shot, and then again having the energy of how everything went, and just having the insight that you had. Would that be something that you felt that you could trust with somebody else to edit, or did you feel like you had to do it because you were the only one who could figure out how to put it together?
Well, I think a big thing is that like when you're at this stage of filmmaking, you're still figuring yourself out. And I think a big part of that is like knowing how to communicate what you want. So for me, it's like I've always tried to I always try to edit my own stuff just because one, like when you're on set, sometimes you have to compromise things, right? Like with the slate or like you'll mess up and it's like I remember like we'll be shooting something and like we'll mess up on like a slate or like a tail slate and someone will be like, you're editing this, right? And I'm like, yeah, I kind of have to now because like I know this stuff. So part of me is just like I just edit it just to save time because I already know what I want. But I think if like everything went to plan and like I did everything right for the editor, I wouldn't mind giving it to someone else.
Okay. You also did the music, and you were saying how putting it together without music can feel a little disjointed. And so when the music comes in, and then all of a sudden there's magic,
Hmm.
and you made the music. Um, so you made the music, and you did the sound design for the music. How do you go about creating that that feeling? I mean, I guess knowing what you want it to feel like, because it's a feeling, and then you go in and you make this music and you put it with that. Talk to me about that process, because I think that's fascinating. I think music is so important to a film, and to know that you do your own music for your film, and it's so impactful. And where everything is placed, and the tone, and I've also noticed how you pull the music out while the credits are still rolling. You did that on The Kennel as well. And
Hmm.
I wondered about that choice, in The Kennel, and I saw that you did it again. So I was like, oh, okay, this is deliberate. He means to do this, and it's for a purpose. So talk to me about the whole process, the creating the music for the film, and how it's placed within the film.
Well, so a part of this score I had made when I was actually a freshman, and then I had gone back to it because I knew I wanted to use it for a film, and then I added all the other pieces in it later. But it was kind of like so what I usually do is I'll get one piece of the music, I'll put it in, and then as the scene escalates, I'll it's a lot of going back and forth to make sure like the scene has rhythm, and then of course the musical notes hit. So it's like I'll have one part of the score, I'll lay it down, the scene will progress. I'm like, okay, I think we need to have a step here, and then I'll add it in, and it just goes from there. Like a lot of it goes, the editing and the music tends to be made a lot of times together at the same time, and that can be kind of challenging sometimes because like I don't know like how they do it in like feature films. Like, do they make the music after the movie before? But I do it at the same time, which is another reason why I kind of have to edit it. So like
Yes.
I'm doing like because it's like a very back and forth process.
Well, but you have also said, in the last podcast that we did together, you said one of the things that you were working on is learning to trust other creatives.
Mm-hmm.
So I totally understand this. I totally understand this, because I feel the same way about things. You want something done right, do it yourself. And you have nobody else to blame but yourself if it's not what you want. But then also, giving up some of that power, or some of that chance for others to contribute, because they have amazing voices and abilities too, and like you said, they've helped you come through many times in other ways. So I totally get that dynamic of feeling that you have to do it, but also feeling like, okay, maybe I should give this to somebody else to handle.
Yeah,
I
I
like
mean,
too what you said. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say like yeah, I mean, I definitely would like want to give like my films to other editors in the future, but I think like with certain things, it's just kind of like saving time is is a lot of things
Mhm.
I'd be thinking about mainly.
Okay, so with time in mind, is it wanting to get it done, or is there having some other kind of deadline over you? Is it just, I want this done, and I want it done by this date so I can submit it to festivals, or so I can get it out to the world, or what is that time element?
Well,
Why is that so important?
it's mainly on set. Like, I feel like I'm the one editing it. I already know what the story is. I have an idea of how the pacing. So like when I'm on set, I can cut corners with traditional things like slating and stuff, so that when I get so we can save time on set. Because like 2 days, like it is a lot, but like we definitely were rushing for certain parts because everyone has different availability and stuff like that. So like when
Yeah,
we get into those situations, since I'm the one editing it, it's like okay, well we can just cut this corner. We don't have to slate this. Just go right away, and stuff like that.
right, right. So Julian, did you finish school? Have you
Mhm.
finished?
Yeah.
You have finished. So what is next for your filmmaking journey? What projects or what roles do you plan to pursue?
So I'm definitely working on my next films that officially won't be student films. But I also want to go to graduate school. I want to get my master's in film so I can teach it. I want to teach it at the collegiate level.
Oh, I love that.
Yep.
Okay, so non-student film, do you have something written?
In the
Or are you in
process, I have a draft. It's in pre-production now. We're looking to shoot it in January, but we'll see how it goes because it's gonna be different from all the other ones. I won't have as much access to much stuff, so it's gonna be an interesting process.
Story-wise, is it different?
Yeah, I'm trying to be more restrained. I feel like a lot of my movies tend to be very wild in a sense. Like the scene is very dramatic, and then the kennel has like very dramatic elements. I was trying to tone it back a little bit for this one.
So does that mean that it's more drama, less
Yeah,
thriller,
yeah,
comedy,
it's
so more
definitely
dramatic?
a bit more. I'm trying to tell a more personal story.
Okay. Okay. Is this also a short or feature?
Yeah, sure.
A short. Okay. I love this, Julian. I'm so excited for you because I think you're fantastic. And when you say you're still finding your voice and who you are, sure, you're a young filmmaker, but I feel like you already have a voice. I look at the kennel and I look at the scene and I see, your stamp on it. I can tell that this is one of your projects. I love that you're exploring, a different tone in the next project with drama, telling a more personal story. So I can't wait to see where you go and what you do with that. And I think it's fabulous that you want to give back to students and teach. Is that goal, is wanting to teach from having been inspired by one of your own teachers, or do you feel like you have things to share, or you have special connections with students, or what makes you want to go that route as an educator of film?
Um, I think it's just the fact that like I'm very passionate about like the subject material, and I feel like um with that I could be well right now I'm an English teacher myself, so that kind of goes hand in hand with film, like it's storytelling and like elements of that. But it's just like I enjoy like helping people like see things they haven't seen, and like the art that they watch or read, and I just have a lot of fun with it, and I think like it'll also help me like learn as well. That's why I want to do it.
Absolutely. As a teacher, you're also a student and learning every time you teach. You're learning as you're teaching, if you're doing it the right way. So I think that's wonderful. Do you plan on staying in Virginia?
Um, not in the future, no. For right now, yes.
Okay. Have you already been accepted to grad school, or?
Not yet. I'm applying now in the process.
Okay. And these are all Virginia schools, or are these out of
Most
state?
all of them are out of state. I'm applying to SCAD, NYU, UCLA.
Good luck. Good luck. You've got some good ones on that list. Julian, wherever you land, I hope you stay in touch. I hope you keep submitting to our festivals, because I think your art is amazing. I love that that you're a Virginian, that you're one of us, and thank you for submitting the second project with us. And I can't wait to show it on November 15th at the park and have your crew and your cast there and come see it and talk to you again on the Q&A panel there. So thank you so much for being part of it again.
Thank you.
All right.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Richmond Film Network podcast. Thanks to our guest and to you, our listeners, for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and share. Tune in next week to see who's on the RFN pod. Until then, keep the cameras rolling.